All right, what if I told you there's a huge chapter of our history that's just been completely ripped out? I'm talking about an entire empire, a massive one that used to be all over old world maps. But today, it's completely gone from our textbooks. Today, we're going to dive into a theory that's going to make you question, well, pretty much everything you thought you knew about our past. So the core idea from the source material we're looking at today asks this really bold question. Has our history been rewritten on purpose? And if it has, you gotta wonder, what was so important, so massive, that someone needed to just wipe it off the map?
Well, according to this theory, the answer is an empire called Tartaria. If you look at old maps, you'll see this huge territory. It was massive. But the people who believe in this theory say it's been completely scrubbed from the official record. The big question is, how does something that big just vanish?
Okay, so that brings us to the first part of this whole mystery, the vanished empire. Let's dig into how a place this huge supposedly disappeared without a trace.
Now, the claim here isn't just that, the name got changed or the empire fell apart. No, the source material argues that an entire advanced civilization was systematically wiped out. Think about that. Not just defeated in a war, but completely erased from history.
So how on earth do you hide an entire empire? Well, according to this theory, you don't hide it, you bury it. The idea is that there was this catastrophic event called the Mud Flood, a massive disaster that literally buried entire cities and in doing so, basically hit the reset button on history. All right, so if you're going to bury a whole civilization, you're probably going to leave some clues behind, right? And the source material for this says the main evidence is right in front of our eyes, in the strange architecture we see all around us. And this is where it gets really interesting. Just think about this for a second. Have you ever seen one of those old buildings where the windows are practically touching the ground, or doors that lead to nowhere? You see them everywhere, these grand old structures where the first floor seems to be sinking into the pavement. Why would anybody build something like that? The implication here is just staggering. The theory suggests that what we call the ground floor isn't the ground floor at all. It could be the second, third, maybe even the fourth floor of a much, much taller building. The real ground floors, they say, are buried deep under our feet, all thanks to that great mud flood. Okay, so this raises some huge questions, right? If this was done on purpose, who did it? And even more importantly, why? What could possibly be the reason for wiping out history on a scale this massive?
Well, the theory goes that the answer isn't about what was buried, but about what the Tartarians had figured out. We're talking about a level of technology that was supposedly a huge threat to the powers that took over after they were gone.
So what kind of technology are we talking about? Get this, the source claims the Tartarians had mastered things like free energy, pulled right from the atmosphere. They had architectural skills that we apparently can't even replicate today. Basically, a whole suite of advanced tech that would have made our entire modern power structure, well, totally pointless. And this slide really drives the point home. Take a look at Chicago. On the left, you've got the World's Fair in 1893, with these incredibly grand, ornate buildings that look almost impossible. On the right, you've got modern Chicago. The source just asks a simple question. Looking at these two pictures, which one really looks more advanced to you?
So the theory is that this incredibly advanced past had to be erased. These amazing buildings were either torn down, or we were told a different, younger civilization built them, or they were just buried. And the knowledge of that incredible technology, totally suppressed.
But, how do you hide something that's literally thousands of miles long? The source material claims there's one piece of evidence that was just too big to hide, too massive to completely erase or explain away.
And that brings us to the Great Wall of China. According to this theory, one of the most famous structures in the world might be holding the biggest secret of them all.
Now, we all know the Great Wall isn't just one long wall, right? It's actually a bunch of different sections that were built and rebuilt over centuries by different dynasties. That's just a historical fact. But here's the key question the theory asks. If you look at the oldest, original parts of the wall, which way do they face? Which way are the defenses, the watchtowers, actually pointing? Who were they really trying to keep out? See, the story we're always told is that the wall was built to protect China from invaders to the north. But the source makes this shocking claim. The oldest parts of the wall had their defenses facing south, towards China. If that's true, it completely flips the entire purpose of the wall on its head. The theory suggests the wall wasn't built to keep Tartarians out of China at all. It was built to protect the advanced empire of Tartaria from whatever threat was coming from the south.
So, where does that leave us? We've got this idea of buried buildings all over the world, claims of incredible lost technology, and now a world-famous landmark that might have been built for the exact opposite reason we thought.
Now, the source material is pretty upfront about this. If you go and research Tartaria or the mud flood today, you're going to find that it's all called mythical or just plain false. Mainstream history says it's a baseless conspiracy theory. There's just no room for this lost empire in the official story.
And that leaves us with the final, kind of haunting question from the source material. If any of this is true, if an entire massive chapter of world history was just hidden on purpose,